All right, Mustang fans, we're live. Uh, if there's anybody out there, chime in. A lot to talk about. Uh, talk about anything Mustang. And I've been fighting some of my projects lately. Haven't actually been panning out. I do a lot of stuff with used parts, which you guys might have seen, and I bolted a set of cylinder heads to a motor for the T-top coupe, and I really didn't inspect them. I just thought they would be good. And I looked down into the intake valves and found quite a bit of rust. So got to pull one of those off and do a pile of work. And hey, we got Tim Webb. Hello, Tim. How are you today? So yeah, kind of going backwards on the T-top coupe a little bit. Um, Not sure if you heard Tim. The one of the cylinder heads I put on has a bunch of rust on the intake valves. That's a good. Thanks, man. Jackie and I have been actually working on the old house for a long time. We actually put all the cabinets up and did the tile work and countertops and things like that. But yeah, so yeah, my projects haven't been going that good. Tim, you've been working on yours. How's your projects going? And what else was I working on? I was doing something the other day. It's been pretty cold outside here, though. Actually, that's a point I want to bring up. I don't know how you guys feel about electric cars, but I mean, I'm not the biggest electric car fan. Now, I'm not a hater on the electric cars, but I don't think the technology's quite there yet. I mean, if they come out with a really good technology in the electric cars, I'm sure I'll be a fan. I mean, they can be fast, right? But I know here in Alberta, um, I shouldn't say here in Alberta, I'm in Ontario, but in Canada, over the other side, Alberta, they had some very cold temps and they asked to limit your electricity usage and not plug in your electric cars. So, I mean, and then I've been watching other YouTubers with electric cars showing they're dropping half the range and things like that. And quite frankly, I don't think we have the infrastructure for electric cars to plug them all in. But oh, Tim, sorry, buddy. No, sir. -degree weather and body paint. Yeah, yeah, not a good time of year for body paint. That's for sure. That cold will bite. So I'm hoping someday they'll have a good electric car. But seeing all this take place, it seems like I mentioned it before, and I think one of the other little videos I did. It seems like they're waging a war on gas powered cars, and I don't know how much more time we're going to have with them. I mean, sure, 2035 they're gonna stop selling gas powered cars. I'm assuming we can drive the old ones, but hopefully we'll have gas for a long time to come. And yeah, so yeah, that's my little rant on electric cars. Anyway, um, yeah, I'd really love to have some warm weather here. Jackie and I are actually trying to plan another trip for after Foxtoberfest. So, for those of you that know, after Foxtoberfest, Jackie and I took the car to the Florida Keys and back, and we had a great time. This year, we're just starting to plan another trip, and I hope it's going to work out because I just love driving that car. Um, the older I get, the more miles I want to put on it, especially with this whole electric car thing coming about. And yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed used parts lately. Used parts seem to be through the roof. I mean, we all know the new parts are through the roof, but I mean, can't even find any good deals online lately. It seems in the Facebook Marketplace or anything like that. Everything's really up, but you know, it is for everybody. Well, I did get one good, Tim. Around my city, you would rarely see a single fox body or two driving in the summer. Really? Wow. Is it a big city you live in, Tim? Or I mean, I guess where I live, you'll see a few. Um, Mostly if you're going to the cruise night or whatever. Near Chicago. Wow. So yeah, lots of population around there. Hmm. Yeah. I guess they're just getting to be that age where they're spending more time in the garage than not. Um, Hi, Shelb. So, so yeah. I don't know. My goal is to put as many miles on mine as I can. I'm hoping it'll be wore out by the time I'm done with it. Um, the only thing that really ever discouraged me from driving it was the paint. But I've kind of gotten over that. I know here in Canada, a few years back, it was over 13 grand to paint a car, and that was without any body work. That was a rust-free car. So I mean, it's getting pretty expensive hobby. And for me, paint and body work is probably the worst of it because I'm no good at that. I don't know how you guys do with paint and body work, but that's just not my thing. I wish it was, but never been good at it. So closest I've come is pop rivets and a telephone book shoved in there. And then it starts breaking all out, cracking and going on. But yeah, that's mostly on a winter beater. So yeah, looking forward to try and get our supercharged Fox body we have out called the Beast. I don't know how many of you guys have seen the Beast. It's a 93 red coupe, air conditioning, power windows, locks, cruise. It's got a 4R70 automatic in it with lockup torque converter. Well, it's YSI supercharged. So we're hoping it's going to run eights, still have AC, stereo, all that stuff. Something that, hopefully take down a Hellcat, but still have the same kind of creature comforts as it does. So that's a lot to ask, but we'll give it a whirl. So yeah, so something I picked up at Foxtoberfest. I shouldn't say I haven't found any good deals. This was a good deal. One of our subscribers, Matt, give me a good deal on this Ford Motorsport TAC. Needs a bit of work. He wasn't sure if it worked. We'll give it a whirl. I'm gonna have to take this piece off, and kind of restore it. And I know they sell the paint at. We have a Michaels up here, and they sell this fluorescent orange paint for the Pointer. It's got a dent in the ring here. I don't know if I can get that off and maybe bend it back out. I don't know if you guys know how to take that apart at all, but I'm sure I can break it on my own. But yeah, this is something I've really wanted for a long period of time. I don't know what I'm going to put it in. It would have originally gone in Swamp Thing, but I did pick up a beat up old tack for Swamp Thing. So probably leave that one in there. It's the reason I want to leave the one in Swamp Thing is it's got recall, and I want to see how bad my shifts are and see how much the tack jumps up in between the shift. And yeah, and anything you guys want to talk about? Projects on the go, projects that I want to build in the future. Anything goes. Anything Mustang related. Anybody going to Foxtoberfest in October or Motor City Fox Fest or any of that? But not a whole lot of responses. May have been a bad time to do this live stream. I'm just kind of experimenting with times. Wasn't sure how many would be online Sunday afternoon. Maybe I should have done it Sunday night. But yeah. How do you guys feel about monster tax on the dash? Tim, here we go. I'm considering forged rods and pistons from a Roller 351. Should probably keep things the way they are. No, forged rods and pistons, man. You'd be able to make some jam with that 351. Yeah. So I don't know about you. Online, I've seen guys making over 1,000 with these things. I've seen people say the safe zone is about 700 rear wheel before the caps start to chatter. I have the Holley EFI dash and a Monster RPM tack right on the dash. That's cool. So you got the Holley dash, man. That's something I'd love to have. They're beautiful. I picked up a little handheld when we rolled through Summit. It was in their clearance section. I'm gonna run that for now, but yeah, that's awesome. And then the big old monster tack. So yeah, that's kind of where I was going. The monster tack on the dash. How do you guys feel about that? I personally love it. Chatting with some other YouTubers, Mustang people. A lot of people hate on the monster tack these days now. These days, I wouldn't screw it right to the dash. I'd probably put it on the cluster surround so I could replace that easy enough. But I'll tell you, for a couple $100 or maybe $300 up here in Canada, Monster Tack is a hell of a lot of fun with a shift light. It's some of the most fun I've had. Well, when I was about 19, I first installed one in my '87 GTT top. And I turned it down, set it about, I think it's 3,000 RPM is the lowest you can go, and I made that thing flash all night long. And even today though, it's just a pile of fun. Now, I don't have one in every car, but I just mean. I don't dislike it. I don't hate it, and it can make the driving experience in your Fox body a whole lot different. It's the old school classic look. Yeah, it sure is. And well, that brings to mind. There's a lot of people, trying to get rid of drag lights and stuff. I think drag lights on a Fox look pretty mean today, especially with a 10-inch back wheel. I know that's not exactly old school. That didn't come along till a bit later when the back spacing was figured out, but looks pretty mean. So yeah, no. So Tim, yeah, 351 roller, forged rods and pistons. That's awesome. You gonna put a power adder on that, Tim? Um, so the roller I've got, I don't have the money for forged pistons and rods right now. Gonna do the wrong thing, as Derek would say on Vice Grip Garage, and probably throw a set of rings and bearing inserts in it and hope for the best. Has a 78, 75 turbo and a turbo 400. Wow. Yeah, you're gonna be moving, eh? Wow. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Turbo 400, one tough transmission. So yeah, just been kind of listening to other things people are talking about, kind of trends in the Mustang world. I love the old school stuff. Not that I hate the new school stuff or anything like that, but I really love old school. I guess because I'm old and and that's what I remember. Um, so you're near Chicago, Tim. I don't know who else we got online, but yeah, which makes me think of when I was younger, the Dutch cars. I know some people don't like the Dutch cars because they think it's just maybe a silly body kit. But here, for anybody that lived around the Toronto area or Ontario, we saw the Dutch cars and everything that was done with them, and they were like saline to us. And it's a classic look here. It's iconic. I know people right now that are trying to track. Well, I know one guy in particular talking to this week. He's trying to track down a coupe and build it to the one his buddy had with a saline kit, silver paint, ram air hood, because that was the look for the Dutch cars back in the day. Saline spoiler, and he wants ROH ZS's with it, so that classic kind of look. But he's having a heck of a time tracking down a coupe up here in the Great White North. There are not that many good ones for sale right now. And I don't even know what pricing is like because I just haven't seen something really clean for him to go look at right now. Anybody knows of anything, feel free to throw it up in the comments. I'll let them know. So Tim, you've got a 78, 75 turbo. What turbo kit do you have on that? I've been contemplating that or building one. That's the one power adder I've never had. I had nitrous for a lot of years, went supercharger, got a Amazon turbo kicking around the box out there, but haven't done anything with it yet. And from the looks of it, they are a lot of fun. So it looks like Coyote swaps are way up in price. I know a guy I talked to used to do them for about $25,000. He says now you can't touch a Coyote swap for about under $35,000 up here in Canada. So that puts me out of that equation. That's not going to happen. I've been wondering if there's a junkyard way to do it personally. I don't know if it would be a good idea though. I mean, if you took the whole Coyote out of a Ford F-150 and the whole wiring harness and laid it into a coupe, maybe hook the taillights and everything up and all the wiring and use the whole F-150. Could you do it on the cheap? I mean, what's an 11? The last 11 F-150 I saw go for here was about $2,800, 5 liter in it. But I don't know much about coyote swaps. I see a lot of people having to buy different brackets and things like that. So if anybody has any information on the coyote swaps, feel free to throw it out. Throw it out there. And yeah, so Jackie and I are going to plan a trip. Don't know where. It'll be somewhere south. If you guys have any ideas of what you'd like to see, where you'd like to see a fox body rolling around in, let us know. We'll definitely take it under consideration. Tim, considering the coyote swap, but I'm worried about the costs and labor time. Yeah. So I imagine it'd be quite a bit cheaper for you guys down there. But yeah, the guy that I was talking to, he does a lot of coyote swaps. He said 35 is kind of the bottom dollar, and goes anywhere from 35 up to 40, I guess, is the most expensive. So yeah, it's something I would love to have. I mean, it looks like guys are running 8s with these things with a coyote swap and a turbo and good tranny behind it. But I could see 20 to 25 going by fast with that. Yeah. Yeah, even down in the States with you guys' dollar, eh? Yeah. Yeah, it's very hard for me to buy stuff out of the States right now. Our dollar is horrible, and by the time you pay the rate of exchange and you pay the brokerage tax and the shipping, you can pretty much double what you buy. Depends on where you order it from, but a lot of times it'll be double. Sometimes I've seen it as high as 3 times the price, but that's an extreme situation. So yeah, our dollar is weak too. Government printing too much and handing it away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to make of the world today. It's different. It really is different. I'd love to move down to the States though, Tim. I'll tell you. I would really love to move down there. So someplace a little more south, maybe. I'd like to be able to drive the car all year long. I hear Florida's pretty hot in the summer, though. I've never been. So I don't know who else is online. What time or day do you think you can get more people in live chat and more of your usual watchers here? Wow. I don't know, Tim. I don't know. This is the 3rd live stream. The first one I threw up, kind of spur of the moment. Second one I scheduled. We had a few people. I was thinking Sunday afternoon might be a bad time, simply because people probably out enjoying their day. Maybe Sunday evening. Maybe a weekday is better. I know I talked to Paul DeFox quite a bit, and he does his on Thursdays, 9:30 p.m. He gets quite a few people, but he's got a bigger following than I do as well. So, but I love talking fox bodies, and if anybody's out there, I'll talk fox bodies all day long. So, or Mustangs in general. Had a lot of different Mustangs in the past too. So, yeah, I want to. I guess I'll talk about Swamp Thing, see if anybody's interested in Old Swamp, but going to put Explorer intake on, B-Cam, and GT40P heads. We're going to try and get that car into the 11s. There's a spray kit on the car. I don't know if I'll spray it this year and try and get into the 10s with GT40 parts. And I've been debating, this is something I actually find interesting, is I want to make Swamp Thing maybe a no prep car. And Swamp Thing is a real piece of crap. As you guys know, it's pretty rusty in areas. And, there's no real safety equipment in it yet, so it needs a roll bar. Excuse me, guys. And one of the things I've been thinking about doing, no matter what I do with Swamp Thing, I'm thinking about leaving the B cam in there. No matter what engine, maybe make Swamp Thing always a B cam equipped car. So, oh, Tim, I used to watch his streams for years until it became a raffle only and money channel. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's doing a lot of waffles. And he's getting some pretty nice stuff to waffle off. Um, I think he's got a nice black coupe coming here shortly. I haven't seen it, but it may be his that he's going to waffle off. Um, yeah, yeah. Oh, I hear you. So yeah, sorry, Tim. Lost my train of thought. So, what do you guys think of Swamp Thing always being a B cam only car? No matter if it's 351 roller with a turbo or what we're doing with it, I'm thinking Swamp Thing should maybe use a B cam always, but haven't made my mind up 100% on that. Love to know what you guys think about that. I mean, from what I know about, stock 302 blocks, 351 blocks with a turbo, I could probably make more than enough power to break either block with that B cam in there. So, I mean, there's that. There's no point in changing it, I suppose. I mean, is there better cams for the money? Going to make more power? Sure. But be nice to try and get competitive in this no prep stuff with a B cam in Old Swamp. That is, if they'll let Swamp Thing on the racetrack. I don't know if they will or not. We had a rough time at London. They didn't want Swamp on the track because of the moss growing on it. Shannonville, one of the tracks they go to there, they're not bothered by Swamp Thing. They never said anything about it at all. I would like to take it up to Cayuga, but they're a pretty major track as well. I don't know what their opinion will be on it. So goal is 11s by the end of this year with Swamp Thing. And if the car is hooking and I feel ambitious, maybe we'll turn the spray on. But I think a custom home built turbo kit may be the way I go with that. So for anybody watching that doesn't know, it's a very budget oriented channel. Don't have a ton of money. Pretty much got to make everything myself or out of used parts, which is cool. No complaints here. So progress may be slow and things may look a little bit hokey sometimes, but that's what we got. So no worries. I have my best fun with junk. So get that goal, man. Yeah, I hope so, Tim. I really hope so. I think he can do it. I think a bunch of us have chatted before on 5.0 Tussin and how fast he is and how fast he goes. He's doing it with all GT40 and GT40P parts and Explorer intakes. And yeah, he's one awesome driver, though. Can't take that out of the equation. That man has the driver mod by far. So, yeah, I think we can get there. I think we can get to the 11s by the end of the year if the car hooks solid. Shouldn't say solid. You always want a tiny little bit of wheel slip usually in order to make her rocket down the track. But if we're hooking, should do it. So, hey, Tim, what are you hoping to run with your Turbo 351 roller? Just curious. Or do you run it at the track at all? Or got to be a pretty good track near Chicago, eh? Mind you, that's another thing. Excuse me. We're seeing a lot of tracks close up and whatnot. I know I was watching Brutal the other day, and his track looked like it burnt. Just trying to make the car more reliable. Track is too far away to drive and not trailer. Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. I don't have a track that's close by. I never used to trailer my cars, but in the case of Swamp Thing, it's not insured, not on the road. So I trailer it. But most of my cars I would trailer now because I just don't have the time if it breaks down. We have to go through Toronto. Toronto is known as the busiest highway in North America. Actually, it was the only highway in North America that made the top 10. I think it was number three. And so that's how bad our traffic is here rolling down the 401. And I don't want to be broke down headed to the track. In all honesty, with the fluids and everything, it would take a lot of work for the tech to allow it. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's going to be a hell of a combo, though, Tim. I hope to get to where you are at some point. Probably going to keep the Swamp Thing stick, though, be the only difference. Um, what intake manifold are you running? That's something I've been debating too for a bit. What intake manifold to put on top of that 351 with a turbo? And what camshaft do you have? So, yeah. Well, hoping for, we got a lot of snow here right now, pretty cold temps, everything's froze up. Yeah, get pretty tired of it. Can't wait to get driving the Fox bodies again. And yeah, I'm gonna have to pick a time too when I can get Jackie here. She can get nagging at me, and that'll be a little funnier at least. But uh, yeah, so got the T-top coupe to work on. We touched on a little bit. Got the Beast, which should be out. The nice thing about the Beast is it's already insured and ready to go as far as everything in Canada. I just have to get the car running, and then we can pull it out and drive it. So very hard to find them. I have a mismatched trick flow stage 1 cam. Good cam though. Ported Lightning and oh, you got a Lightning. I've been looking around for that. So I know here in Canada they're like over $800 just for the lower. So ported Lightning and GT40 tubular intake. I want to buy the $1,000 trick flow box intake, but they took them off. They're off the market. Wow. Somebody told me that that they couldn't buy one. I just assumed that they were back ordered. Didn't realize they were off the market. Wow. That's a bummer. That's a heck of an intake, the trick flow box. See, the reason I was for almost a year, they blamed the foundry, can't even back order. Really? Wow. So what would be comparable we could buy? I mean, there's the Holly High Ram. The Holly High Ram, that's pretty high though. Need a major hood, right? Man, I don't know. I guess if the RPMs were below 6,500, I guess the System X would still work pretty well. The reason I was curious about your combo is I was thinking about making my own spacers so I could use one of these junk Explorer intakes I've got on it. And then I had some luck and I picked up Victor Jr. EFI carb style intake that was ported by Paul Silva Performance. System X can't work on a 351. Yeah, that totally slipped my mind until you said it. Yeah, not without doing spacers or something, right? So yeah, I don't know what's available for good intakes that will fit under a stock hood. I wonder if they can still get the standard trick flow R, but wow, that's interesting. And so, did I ask you, Tim? I got to look here. What heads do you have on that 351? This is our common Ford problems. Yeah, that's always been the problem. I remember when I was a kid, I was reading Muscle Mustangs and Fast Fords, and they had a project car. It was a carbed 84 GT. Bad and cheap old heads. Oh, trick flow 170 wedge heads. Tim, lucky man. I've been looking for a set of those for a year here in Canada that I could find used. Get somewhat of a deal on because those heads will cost me a fortune to buy new. And there was a set last week. They were $1,000 with rockers, and I really considered them, but it looked like a valve had broke off at one point, smashed up the one combustion chamber. It had been repaired, but you could still see all the marks, and you could see it had new valves in it. And I don't mind taking a chance on stuff usually, but I wouldn't want that to come apart and bust up one of my engines that I can't afford to replace. Can't go with the heads I want with stock pistons with the valve sizes. Yeah, and that's why the twisted wedge are great. I've used as big as an XE 274 with those twisted wedge heads, and we got it to clear. Now it was super tight. We were maybe taking a little bit of a chance. I believe we had 60 thou on each side, which you shouldn't take that kind of chance on, as you probably know. What is it? 100 on the exhaust, 80 on the intake. So we were playing with fire, but it held up. So what heads are you looking for, Tim? Just curious. The heads that my dream set of cylinder heads are trick flow high port 225. They would fit the beast because the beast is only 40 over. That's why I'm thinking the 220s, uh, the 220 high port. Sorry, with their valve sizes. Um, 2R190 or AFR Renegades. Yeah, yeah, that's a that 190 is a hell of a head. AFR. So I've got 205s on the beast. I would like to either have the 220 AFRs or the trick flow high ports, but the high ports you're into different headers, but it's just something in the back of my mind that I've always wanted. I get fixated on certain parts and decide I want it, and then I'll think about it for years until I can find a set, right? But yeah. Oh yeah. So muscle Mustangs and fast forwards. Reading an issue when I was a kid, 84 GT. They put a Wine Stealth intake on it, which was brand new at the time. I think this was 94, 95. And I had my heart set on this Wine Stealth intake. And so I went to our local performance shop in town and I got them to order it. It took like 3 months. It was like $500 back then. And it worked really well. But yeah, common Ford problems. Save up and get it, man. I'd love to, but the warden may not let me get those. So, and then I'd have to make a header change, which I'm sure would cost, what are cooks right now? I think they're over $1,000 US, right? So I'd be over 2 grand in headers by the time I got them here. So yeah, 6 to 1, half a dozen of another. There's always a problem that needs to be solved, nature of building cars. And yeah, what series of AFR would you buy for your 351 if you were going to do it? Oh yeah, and yeah, did I ask you what intake was on that? That's what I was looking for. Got it. Oh, there. Oh yes, like we talked about that. Lightning and a GT40 tubular intake. Sorry, Tim, my mine's going a mile a minute here. My ADD or OCD kicking in. And yeah, so yeah, I've thought about grabbing a turbo 400 too. That would be a good transmission to have. But as I was rambling on about a little while ago, I'd like to do some no prep racing. I think I want to do stick no prep racing, and I would like to keep Swamp Thing, well, a stick. Where I'm going with that is I'd like to put a TKX in it, but TKX is way above my price range. So, maybe someday. First, we got to see if we could even make Swamp Thing competitive in no prep racing. I put a couple feelers out. It seems like competitively here in the Ontario area, you're going to have to go about mid-nines to be competitive in that stick shift racing. And I don't even know if that's 100% fact. I haven't been up there to see it myself. So Swamp Thing's not doing that anytime soon. And even if I could get it to do it, it won't do that reliably. I see many Fox Body YouTubers getting money from Hanlon to promote those transmissions. Yeah, you've seen the TKX all over the place. That's pretty cool. And the nice thing about seeing these YouTubers use them, like I watch a lot of channels, so watching Neo, and he seems to be a big believer in that TKX. He's put some passes on that TKX, some street miles. He seems really happy with it. And that's when I can actually get the money ahead to buy some of this stuff, it's nice to get information from somebody that's used it that well, used it that hard before you put down your hard-earned money to buy that important piece for your car. So I wish I could help people like that. I mostly have old stuff, but if I can lend anybody any advice to the old stuff or anything like that, I'll always gladly do it. So I find the T5 to be fairly tough. Like T5 isn't going to go no 9-second pass. If it does, it's not going to do it very long. But T5 can handle some abuse as long as you're hitting those gears, not crunching them or anything like that. And Tussin seems to make them pretty reliable with the parts he uses. I know I've watched a lot of his videos where he's adding bearing support plate and what was it, different keys and things like that. So I may have to get into building my own T5. Excuse me, guys. I may have to get into building my own T5 for a while until I can come across some money to pick up a TKX. But you buy the TKX and then I don't know if it comes with a shifter. It probably doesn't. And then you're into a clutch and it snowballs rapidly from there, right? Would you ever go as much weight reduction as Tussin? That's a great question. And Tim, I've been thinking a lot about that. So I've never really done weight reduction in any of my cars. I was always a big believer in throwing more power at it and leaving everything there. Excuse me. All the Mustangs I've had in the past had the sound deadener. They had all the bracketry. They had, if they had AC, the AC stayed. I would leave it all like that. Put more power to it, and that's how I run my quarter mile times. Swamp Thing is the first car that I've ever gutted. So Swamp Thing, as you guys have seen, is missing interior panels. I took out half the heater box because I haven't got the rest of it. Took out a chunk of the door beam before my compressor broke, and I wasn't able to grind the rest out. Only a section this big and about this big in the driver's door. Rest is still there. I took the rear bumper support out. I took the weight off the rear end, took the sway bar out, changed the K-member. And that's as far as I've gone with Swamp Thing. He's still got front bumper shocks, most of the door beams, as we discussed, half the heater box. I've drilled no holes in it. I haven't cut anything into it, other than what you've seen in the doors. I cut a few little chunks out of the doors so I could get my cutoff wheel in there. So I love watching YouTube channels. So I'm watching a lot of them. So I've watched Miss Midnight Maverick there, Tess and Tony. I watched the Secrets of the Gray Mare, and I watched some videos they've done on the Gray Mare. And I've looked that car over pretty good because that thing is amazing. And cutting edge, especially for back in the day, the way that car is hooking on the street. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do that to Swamp Thing. And I don't know how much metal he's cut out of it. I think it's a lot. And I heard his buddy describe it as a beer can. Was it a beer can? Tuna can. He described it as a tuna can. So I don't know how much weight is cut out of that car. And then I think about Tussin's cars, as you've said. And I know this is getting a bit long-winded, but I don't know where to go next. Like, I don't think I will cut the inner structure out like where the seat belts were. I've been looking in there, and on the inside of the quarter panels, there's a lot of metal there. I don't think I'll cut any of that out. I don't think I'm cutting firewall out, anything like that. I would consider cutting the front frame rails off ahead of the shock towers. I've got some rust issues in Old Swamp. So let me see here. I got some people asking questions. Tim, when stopping in the U.S. or when people come up to you, do you ever get hassled with their question about not doing an LS swap? Never had that happen yet. And, I make fun of the LS swaps a little bit. Some of my shorts knock the LS swap. Now, I will be the first to say I'm a diehard Mustang guy through and through, 100% love Mustangs. But the man that best describes me if I had money would be Leno, because I love all cars and I would have a huge collection. But Mustangs are in my blood. My dad had one when they were brand new in 60. he got it in 66. It was 2 years old. It was a 64. And then he had a brand new 69. And then pictures in the photo album led me to Mustangs, and they've been a big part of my life. And eventually, I'm going to have to make another video with Jackie and I to explain how much the Mustang is a part of our life, because we've had some absolutely amazing life experiences where Mustangs were connected, and it's just incredible. And I can't wait to share them with you guys. But it's going to be a bit. So anyway, back to the LS swap. Make fun of the LS swaps. I love all cars, and I respect the LS motor. I do. The LS motor is an amazing engine. It works great. It works great. So when people see me poking fun at them, it's not that I don't like them. I believe in having a Ford motor in a Ford car. I love that. They sound the best. They can be made fast. The only drawback we have as Ford guys is the block can't take the power. I mean, even our pistons are amazing. Rods and crank are not that bad. When a small block Ford comes apart, we lose the block. We don't lose the pistons. We don't lose the crank generally. We don't lose the rods generally. It's the block. And when I do have friends that are into LSs in my town. So when I go into town and I hang out with them, we'll rib each other back and forth. And what I tell them is they don't have a car good enough to put their engine into. They had to come after ours. So, so I was a fan of that car before they had the channel with the woman, when it was AV Boys. I like that car. He would open up the engine in his garage and show the parts. Yeah, and I know the exact video you're talking about, Tim, and it was amazing. I watched that video myself of Tony taking the engine apart, and he was ahead of his time on the street. I mean, I didn't realize watching those videos back then that he had titanium bolts and stuff in there, and it was that light. And he was ahead of me back then. Like, I was having fun racing, but like I said, I wasn't about lightness, and I was all about the power adder. Wasn't trying to go NA. So, he turned the RPMs up. He made more power with it. He made that thing light, and man, it performed, right? And so that would be a great upload. Yeah, I appreciate that, Tim. Jackie and I have some stories to tell. In my opinion, they're pretty amazing. All Mustang related. Not only to do with my parents, but to do with my kids, and I hope to share them with you guys eventually. I want to show everybody that I'm not like a fly-by-night kind of guy. I didn't just buy a Mustang and start a YouTube channel. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just want to eventually tell my story about how it's been ingrained into my life since I was a kid. It's all I've ever known. Mustangs through and through. And it's become just such a part of our family. Can't imagine a world without Mustangs, and I can't imagine myself without a Mustang. If I didn't have a Fox body somewhere on this property, I would go absolutely insane. And that's not just me commenting like that. That is 100% the truth. Can you share your career and success from that? Like, I don't know what we mean. What do you mean about career, Tim? I work in a factory. I'm an industrial millwright mechanic. What type of work? Yeah, I'm an industrial millwright mechanic, taking all kinds of machines apart, putting them back together. I can do a little bit of cutting and grinding and welding. By no means a master in welding, but I can get it to hold. I hope to practice more and do some TIG work and build some turbo kits. And Mustangs I've had from 15 years old till now. Never been without one. And nobody works on my cars but me unless I can't do it. That doesn't happen very often. That's mostly body work. The only times my Mustang goes to a shop and gets something done is usually tuning. I'm not proficient in tuning yet. I aim to put a stop to that with the Holley injection on the Beasto. With a little bit of help from somebody I know local, I hope to get tuned in Holley EFI. But there's nothing I'm afraid to tackle as far as Mustangs, and that's what keeps it fun. But no, as you said, people come up to me talking about LS stuff. Going back, I bought the Holly HP kit almost 4 years ago. I think that's about when I got mine too, Tim. Have you run yours yet? Mine is in the car. Needs about 4 more wires to go before it works, and I haven't run the car with it yet. I bought mine used, but I know that it worked. So have run it. Still needs many tuning adjustments. Yeah, yeah. And it worries me a little bit, the tuning aspect of it. But I've got a local guy that's absolutely amazing in it, and I've asked him about it. And he's offered to help a little bit, and I know there's some great tuners out there. I know Freezy74. He's done a couple of camshafts for me. He's amazing. Answers a lot of questions. I know he's a great tuner. I know if I have problems with it, I'll pay Freezy and get him to help me out online, maybe. And yeah, the Holly HP kits, they look pretty amazing. But I don't have any real world experience with tuning or driving it, unfortunately. But hope to change that this summer. So yeah, most of our channel is cheap thrills, I guess. If you have a mobile hotspot from your phone, you can get remote tuners that remote work on your laptop while driving. Yeah, that would be perfect. And I believe, forgive me if I'm speaking wrong here, Freezy, but I believe Freezy does tuning that way. So yeah. Is there anything you guys would like I see we got a few people online right now. Tim's gabbing back and forth with me, which I love and appreciate, because sure need somebody too. And oh Jesus, I'm sorry guys, I miss Sean. Hey Sean, how are you, buddy? What's happening? Anything new with the car? And yeah, I'm rambling a mile a minute about all kinds of stuff. If there's anything anybody wants to talk about, feel free. But yeah, as I was saying, this is a pretty cheap thrills channel. Don't have a lot of money to play with, but have a lot of junk and a lot of Mustangs and a lot of spare parts kicking around. Better than silence. I appreciate you, Tim. I appreciate you, buddy. Hopefully, we'll get some more people to have a conversation with us at some point. But no, I appreciate you. Appreciate you. I can't imagine I'd be sitting here in silence without you. Here's Sean. I'm good. Just waiting to put exhaust on. There's Dylan. Everybody say hi, Dylan. Dylan's got his own coupe. For those of you that don't know, we'll get working on that eventually too. Yeah, it's gonna be a cheap project as well. Whatever we can throw in there. We got an old engine for him that's gonna go in. It's something weird we found. It's 28-ounce balance, but it was in a 5-liter, so we'll throw that in. Hopefully it works good. He doesn't need too much power to begin with anyway.
I don't even know what that means.
You'll learn. So Sean, you're just waiting to put your exhaust on. Right on. Yeah, I guess we need some warm weather, eh, buddy? Excuse me, guys. Yeah. So is there anything you guys would like to see in Altered Stangs as far as a project? Keep in mind, like I say, we're a budget-related channel. So, but if there's anything I could work on, let me know. I'm always open to new ideas. If there's any destinations you guys think we should travel to, let us know, because I want to do more travel videos with the Fox Body. I think, yeah, after Foxtoberfest in October, we're going to go somewhere south. Just haven't put an X on the map yet. So yeah. Hey, anybody know? Yeah, I'm going to have to phone the border. I'm trying to figure out if I get Swamp Thing across the border with that moss growing on him. It seems like a funny thing, I know, but I don't know the answer to that. I like to see some more of the Red Fox you have. I don't think I've seen that one. Sean, yeah. No, I don't have any real good videos of that car. There will be more of it this year. Excuse me, guys. There will be more videos of that car this year. I have to finish up the Holly HP wiring. I have to wire up the transmission controller. It's auto shift. It'll shift on its own. And then I have to get some help with the tuning, and then it'll be on the road running. And we hope to put some miles on that. It's not going to be so much of a traveler as, say, the Silver Bullet is, but we will take it some places. And then someday, hopefully, it'll run an 8-second pass. We'll see. That's my goal for that car. For anybody that doesn't know, is to run 8s, air conditioning, power steering, power windows, locks, cruise, stereo. So it's a pretty heavy Fox body in reality. It's even got I'm aiming for it on the pro touring side, so it's got Cobra brakes on the front. It's got heavier than stock brakes. It's got a Maximum Motorsports K member in it, which only reduces maybe half the weight of the UPR, I believe. So that's a one heavy Fox. But no, thanks, Sean. Appreciate that. So we'll get that out, and I've got some work I want to do to the S197. I don't know if we have any S197 fans out there, but we're going to get Jackie's S197 out, put a set of Mac mufflers we picked up. I touched on that in the last live stream, and try and get that thing sounding proper. It sounds pretty good now, but it's too loud. Dylan's car. What else have we got out there? Yeah, I got one more project, but it's non-Ford. So once the channel gets a little bit bigger, maybe we'll unveil that. I know it's altered Stangs, but like I said, I love all cars. So if you guys don't think it's appropriate on the channel, I will leave it out. I guess we'll take a vote at the time to see whether that car should be allowed on altered Stangs. It's one of my dream cars. It probably should be crushed. It's pretty bad, but a little voice in the back of my head keeps telling me to rebuild it. So, and so we'll do some cutting and grinding and welding, I suppose. So, Tim, you're near Chicago. Will you be at Motor City Fox Fest? I know it's a bit of a drive. What are we, Illinois? Don't know how far that would be. I know it's a 5-hour, roughly a 5.5-hour drive for me. Put it on. I'm sure it's awesome. Well, it's not awesome, but it has the potential to be awesome, I suppose. But I've been trying to figure out if I should infringe on the Altered Stangs channel to do anything different, since it will always be mostly Mustang related. But maybe someday. I know Infamous is working on that a little bit. I talked to Infamous Chris a little bit, and he's incorporating his BMWs and whatnot in there. Some of his Coyote Swaps F100. I know he's got a Lincoln that he wants to build too. Big old one with the suicide doors. So, but I'm hoping not boring you guys to death. Like I say, if there's any topics you guys want to talk about, like I said, I will ramble on about Fox bodies all day. So I forgot about one car I've got out there. I've got one car out in the yard. It's a 90 coupe, and it was a 4-cylinder. It's got awesome shock towers, a little rough around the edges. The quarter panels need some work as far as rust. And my goal for it is a Dutch kit and a T-roof. But I'm debating whether the car should have maybe wide body flares, the bolt-on ones with the stainless socket head cap screws, or if that'd be pushing the boundaries too far, or would it be something different enough to take the Foxtoberfest that people haven't seen, being a T-roof Dutch with wide body flares. Excuse me. If I put the wide body flares on, it would enable me to cut the quarters out. And with a mini tub, you could have a huge back wheel in that car. I mean, I'd have to ask my buddy. He did a mini tub on his car. I think he can fit an over 11-inch wheel in the back now. And if I were to bring those fender flares are 4.5 inches. If you're to bring the wheel out another couple inches on the outside, Man, that would be a massive tire underneath the back of that Fox body. Then you put some wider ones on the front, and it would have quite the look to it. I just don't know if it's a mean look or if I'm just heading in the wrong direction and building an abomination or something. Guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Sean, I'd like to put my B303 in, but I don't have heads or intake. I'm just thinking putting in for now with the stock heads and intake. I just love the sound. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like the stock cam's very respectable. I don't know how much faster it would be with just the B. I've heard rumor that it wouldn't be any faster at all, but I haven't tried it myself. But you definitely going to need the valve springs to avoid a problem if you're going to put the B in. But I agree with you. I love the sound 100%. That trick flow spring kit, I put it in a couple sets of heads I had here. I didn't find it that bad to do. Just depends how much you're used to doing mechanically. I just pulled the heads and I had them on my workbench, and I had a valve spring compressor, and it wasn't too bad. I don't know if somebody's got a video out there on doing it. I guess that's something I should have made while I was doing it. But they give you a little checker rod, and you just add shims until the checker rod fits between there and the retainer. And when you get it to fit properly, then you can put your spring in. But yeah, there's nothing like a B cam, old school excellence. I mean, there's better cams out there, but it's like I was discussing about the B cam earlier about leaving that in Swamp Thing. If you have a stock block car, adding a power adder, anything beyond 450 you're on borrowed time. I know there's some people out there on the internet making well over 600 engines staying together. I'm assuming their tune is spot on or even rich. And they're listening for things like detonation and keeping tabs on it quite a bit. For the average guy, though, that may not know detonation, may never have heard it before, you can bust that thing after 450. Get into 500 horsepower. It's pretty easy to bust it. And then your 351 roller, the research I've done says 700 repeated abuse. The caps can start to chatter, even though I've seen them hold about 1,000. And where I'm going with all this is almost any power adder in a 302 with a decent head and a B cam is going to make 500. And so why spend the money on anything else? Really not needed. Sounds amazing. I won't tell you guys the B cam is the end all be all cam, but up until recently, for the money, it'll get the job done. Now I say recently because they're going through the roof. I'm seeing them on the internet, $300, $350. Still learning how to work on the car. I don't know a lot. Not looking for much in racing or anything. I just drive it on weekends and show. I just want the nice sound. Yeah, and you got a beautiful car. So with that B303 in there, it's gonna set the mood right off when you're pulling into a parking lot. I can see it now. Remember when I saw your car at Motor City Fox Fest, how nice it looked. So I mean, if it was chugging away with that B cam in there, yeah, I can see it. So yeah, if there's a video out there on it, there probably is on YouTube. It might not be that bad for you to do. I mean, that's how I started out. Is I had a Fox body. I got my first Fox body at 15. I just started tinkering and didn't really let anything stop me. We didn't have YouTube back then. Had the magazines. Maybe you knew a guy that was good. You could ask some questions to. And I just kept kind of going. So I don't know, as far as valve springs go, it just depends of what you think you can do, and maybe watch a video or two on it. I'll always answer any questions I can. But yeah, or if you find a cheap set of heads with good valve springs in them. But as I was talking to Tim about, man, I'd like to find a set of Trick Flow 170s used, but twisted wedge, but they just don't seem to be around much anymore. So Yeah. So anything else you want to do to your car, Sean? You want it to sound good? I know with the B cam, and it already looks awesome. Any interior mods planned or power adders? I know you're not planning on racing it. I know one thing I'd love to have, but they're up there in price again. Is I'd like to have an old school Vortec V1S trim, simply for the sound, pulling into a parking lot with those gears just a whining. Um, I I put a ton of miles on a V1S trim on my car for years, and I'm really missing the sound of it now. So yeah, I remember one time I was driving around in the car, and a lady pulled up beside me. We were sitting at a light, and her daughter's in the car, and that S trim was just whining away under the hood there at idle. And she goes, "Mom," she goes, "his car's supposed to sound like that?" She goes, "No, honey, it's broken." I just started laughing. But yeah, no, I miss all the old school stuff. I wish we could find more of it. Um, I love, and I preach a lot of the old school stuff, I suppose. Like if you've got a tubular intake, any set of aluminum heads, a B cam and an old S trim, you're going to make 500 plus horsepower. You're going to be beyond the limits of the block. No problem. So I don't like to put more money than I need to into stuff unless you're going to build bigger in the future. I mean, you might want a bigger set of heads to start out with, but those trick flow 170s when ported, like I believe there was guys that ran in the sevens with those heads back in the day when people were really pushing the limits of stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my recollection of it. So, in the end, great cylinder head. There was some companies that had some great programs for them, porting programs, but yeah, amazing head. And as we discussed, you can go with a fairly big cam, never have to worry about piston to valve clearance, never have to have your pistons fly cut. And if you bust that block and grab any 302, toss the heads on it, away you go. Sean, I have a new app, Kenwood, and all new speakers to put in and maybe dye my interior black. Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, that's one of the things I did last year. Was it the year before? Losing track of time. Was I put a Kenwood in, same as you, Sean. It was doubled in with nav, and I bought the 417 Fox stereo relocation kit. And I love the kit that 417 Fox puts out. And I just love having the DVD player up that much higher. DVD. Sure enough, I love having the navigation deck up that much higher so I can see it while I'm driving. I'm getting older. Need glasses for anything up close, and it's very handy that way. And you want to dye your interior black? Yeah, I love the black interiors. I put black interior in all of my cars when I can. But walking around some of the cars at, as you saw, at Motor City Fox Fest and also at Foxtoberfest, seeing some real clean examples of gray and even red and blue, and seeing the interiors that pristine, they look pretty good in those colors too. But I am a diehard black interior guy. If I can pull it off, some of that stuff's getting pretty expensive today. Um, I've been hoarding black interior like the plague, but just starting to run out of it now. Don't have as much of it as I used to. And from what I've seen of the tweed material on the seats that you can buy, I haven't seen one that's as close to the stock stuff as I would like. Maybe it's out there, but I haven't seen it yet. So, not to pick on the companies, they're doing a great job of trying to get us the parts we need for our old Foxes. So, one thing I do need to buy to finish the project is T-roof seals for Jackie's T-roof coupe. Those look like they're going to be quite expensive by the time I get them across the border. But I can't leave the car outside until I put them in. So we got anybody else out there? Anybody want to talk about anything? If you guys are getting bored, I can end it. But I love talking about stuff. So Yeah, my garage is a mess. I need to get that cleaned up. I need to make it YouTube presentable for you guys so you can see what's going on. I play trickery with the camera right now because I'm ashamed to show you guys my garage, and that's why I do it. Whenever I'm working on something, you just kind of get the one angle of where I'm working because it is a disaster. And I need to get a proper YouTube garage where I can invite you, my friends, in and have a look around. And it's just not that way right now. I'm embarrassed about it. Yeah, I've never been really good with organization, and I'm going to have to get better at it. Jackie, however, is very good at organization, so I have to get her involved with me. And one thing I am excited about when we go to Motor City Fox Fest is I can't wait to see the swap meet. I hope it's bigger this year. I know the swap meet at Foxtoberfest I absolutely love, and I had a hard time getting out of there without filling the coop up. It was pretty full by the time I left. If you need, I can come up on Saturday and hell, I appreciate that, Sean. I appreciate that very much. The only problem with me is I'm a Mustang Fox body hoarder. You can't seem to let go of anything. So, plus with the snow, unfortunately, until we get some nicer weather, I'm gonna have to wait till then to clean it up. I sure appreciate that, though. Thank you very much. Sound like Elvis. Thank you very much. That was a movie I just saw the other day. It was a new Elvis movie, man. Well, I shouldn't say it's new. I guess a couple of years old now, but it was really great. So, anybody else's garage a disaster? Is it just me? I know my buddy Infamous, he's got one hell of a garage. Let me know if you guys have seen it. It's downright amazing. Looks like Jackie just got home. Well, guys, I appreciate everybody coming on and chatting with me. I guess we'll wrap it up if nobody's got anything else to say. Yeah, he's got an awesome shop. Man, that with the lifts in there and those big fans, it's quite amazing. Brutal's got a very nice shop. I like it. By Script Garage, there's some YouTubers with some amazing shops. I wish I could get mine looking like that. Yeah, you know, Tussin has an amazing shop as well. The facility, and he's got a lot of cool stuff stashed away in there. But thanks to everybody that showed up. Thanks to everybody that chatted, and I'd like to do it again soon. If you guys are interested, I'll put it out there on the Facebook page and on the YouTube channel that we're going to have another one, and love to chat with you some more. If you have any more, if you have any questions you want to ask or any topics you want to talk about next time, feel free to save them up and we'll get into it then. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, everybody. And look forward to chatting with you soon. All right. Have a great week, guys.